Good day, traders. Today, I'd like to talk about support and resistance. So I'll be going through what is support and resistance, how to plot support and resistance levels, and how do we trade support and resistance. So support and resistance levels or areas are areas where there will be a surplus of either buyers or sellers. When price moves up, then pulls back, the highest point reached before price pulled back is a resistance area. When price moves down, then goes up, the lowest point reached before price moved up is a support area or level. So to make an example of what I'm talking about, so we had price move up here and then it turned back. We had price move down, turned back, up, turned back, down, turned back, up, turned back, down, turned back. So the top here would be our resistance level, and then the bottom here would be our support level. Support and resistance areas are continually formed as the price moves up and down over time. Price can break resistance, then that previous resistance area becomes support. Price can also break support, then that previous support level becomes resistance. Think of a multi-story building. The floor you are standing on is support. The ceiling would be resistance. When you take the stairs up to the next level of the building, the ceiling of the below level becomes the floor of the current level, meaning resistance has become support. When you are on the top level of the building and you take the stairs to the lower level, the previous level's floor, which was support, now becomes resistance. Let's look for an example here. So we had an area of resistance there. We had an area of support there. So we went from resistance to support, back up to resistance, and then we broke support. And then when we go back up, this area now becomes a support area. See how the market reacts there, price reacts there, and it supports, and then it carries on down. Now this has turned this support into resistance. And then this formed a new support level here. As you see, price was coming down, turned back, meaning that this would be our new support area. And then once we broke that support, this area has now become resistance, and so on and so forth. So that's what we mean when we say support turns into resistance or resistance turns into support. So how to plot support and resistance levels. Support and resistance are not exact numbers. These are levels, areas, or zones where price reacts. When it reaches that zone, if price fails to break above resistance more than once, then that resistance level is considered as a strong level of resistance or major resistance, especially on the higher time frames. If price fails to break below support more than once, then that support level is considered a strong support level or major support area. We plot support and resistance based on the amount of time price got to that area and reacted by turning back at a resistance level or bouncing up at a support level. You can use a horizontal line to draw your support and resistance levels, or use a rectangle tool to draw your support and resistance zones. I prefer using the rectangle tool, as you can use this to plot the entire zone. So let's see here. So you can either use a line to plot your support and resistance, or you go to insert shapes, rectangles. Now, I like to use this because you can actually plot it like that. Let me remove this. Now, what I do is I look at the candle body to the wick. And then let me insert another level here. Body to wick. So now, as you can see here, this entire zone from here to here would be considered my level of either, at one stage it was support, and then it turned into resistance. So on this side, it's become resistance. Above this block or above this rectangle, it's support. So what I mean by the touches, so it's come to this area once, twice, 3 times, 4th time, 5th, 6th. So on many occasions, price has reacted to this level, which makes it a more significant area of support or resistance. If you look below, this is price is supported here, and then it turns into resistance there. So if we count here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So price has reacted once it reaches this zone around 8 times, which makes it a strong support and resistance level, which makes it hold more significance. Let me clear all of this. So now, how do we trade support and resistance? When we buy when price falls towards support, we sell when price rises towards resistance. We can also sell when price breaks below support. We can also buy when price breaks above resistance. This is called breakout trading. So we see here we have a level of support and resistance. That's our area. As price approaches the level of support, we buy here. We put our stop loss below, and we would target the previous area of support and resistance. That would be our entry. That would be our stop loss. And then that would be our take profits or exit level, buying at a support level. Using the same level, this is a resistance area. We would wait for price to reach resistance. Once it approaches resistance and it reacts, and it starts going lower, we would then put in our sell order there. Target would be a previous level of support. We would take profit at this level. Our stop loss would be above resistance. So how breakout trading works is once price breaks below support. We would put in our sell order there. Stop loss above this level or zone, and we would target the next level, which would turn into our support. Or you could wait and not trade the immediate breakout. You could wait for price to come back to this level of resistance, which was previously support. It's turned into resistance. At a resistance, I said we look for sells. And then once price reacts and starts going lower, you put in your sell order. Your target would be the support area. Same applies when we break through resistance. So this is a resistance area. There we have our support here. Price moves up, breaks resistance. You would either buy on the break or wait for price to come back to test this level as a newly support area. Put in your entry there, and then you target previous level of support and resistance, meaning this would be your take profit area or your exit, and then stop loss below the support area. I hope all of that makes sense. So that's how we would trade supports and resistance. Be very careful of breakout trading, as there's sometimes something called a false breakout, where price will seem to have broken below support or broken above resistance, but then go back into the zone it broke out of. So something like this would be a false breakout, because at some point this candle price went above this area, and if you immediately took an entry there, you would have lost, because your stop loss would have been there, and then price would have taken you out. If you were buying here, your stop loss would have been actually below, sorry. And then price comes back inside the zone. So that's a false breakout. That's an example of a false breakout where price seems to have broken this level of support and resistance. However, it turns and it goes back into the zone. That's it for me. What I'll be covering next would be horizontal, diagonal support and resistance, which would include trend lines, trends, and channels. Thanks. Cheers.